we'll see how it goes. I got good wood here, and we're going to be doing some different epoxy molds here today. We have different casting molds that we purchased. This one's a little honeycomb with a little bee imprint on it, so it'll leave that on the front of the cubes, which will probably end up being pendants. This is multiple geometric shapes, a little star, a circle, oval, and we also have one that's going to give us kind of gem-like, it's faceted edges, like you'd see like in a jewelry store or something. As well as we have our half egg, I guess is what I'm calling it. These are going to be really deep, and we're going to see what happens. Also, if we're going to pour up a bunch of epoxy. If we have excess, we're going to put it in our standard mold that we always use. So we're going to check it out. All right, first step is going to be get our epoxy. I've already put it in front of the heater, so it's a little warm. It's a lot more viscous, easier to work with, and that's how we start. This might be a really long video, I don't know. We're going to see. We also have multiple different pigments. We might have enough to do them all, but we have a reflex violet, kind of brilliant purple. We've got a sapphire blue. These two are new, I've never used them. We have a micro pearl, we have a brilliant gold. You've seen the brilliant gold before. We have a silver. We're not doing the duo blue green. I've done enough of that. This is our transparent turquoise water simulation effect. These two at the end are airbrush paints. This is a Caribbean blue. You've seen that before in this mold. That's Caribbean blue, depending on how much pigment or how much dye you put in it. As well as we have a ultramarine blue. I like that too. All right, so first step is we're going to get our two-part epoxy ready to start mixing. It's going to take a long time. I'll probably pause it while we're doing the mixing. It's like a 12-minute process. We have our A cup, we have our B cup. Very important, don't ever use the wrong one. Here's our A mix, and what I'm going to attempt to do is, actually we're going to start with the B mix because I think there's less in here for some reason. And we're going to see how much we have. If we have enough to do. All right, so we're right under 40 here, and we got way more than 40 here, so I'm glad I checked that first. So we're going to do our B first, and that'll tell us how much we can use total, because we're going to use all of it on this pour. Like I said, I've warmed it up a little bit, so it's way more. Ooh, we're going to have a full. All right, so we got enough to do a full cup, and that's essentially like 800 milliliters, something like that. So we are now done with this. We can get it out of the way. That's our part B. Now we're going to pour the same equal amount into our part A. And I'm not really measuring this. I'm just looking on the side of the cup. As long as they match, we're good. It's a 50-50 ratio mix. Some epoxies are done by equal amounts of volume, which is what this one is. Others are done by equal amounts of weight. And sometimes the resin or the hardener might be more dense, might weigh more or less, so you've got to weigh them out. That's not what we're doing here today. So we have our A, we have our B. With this type of epoxy, it requires you to pour the B into the A. So we're going to get our final bowl, and we're going to put our A in first. And we need our stirring stick, which is all the way over there. I have big ones, but I really want a small one. Yes, we're good with that. So we want to make sure we scrape the sides of the original container and get all of it, so it's exactly the same. Very important that you do equal amounts. Even just a little bit off can really throw off your final product a lot. I've learned that the hard way. I've figured out that I've been doing epoxy pours for exactly 4 years, as of like 2 days ago, due to a memory on my Google Photos reminding me of that. So it's like 4 years to the day, like 3 days ago. The first one I ever did, we had a snowstorm in Birmingham. I was doing it inside, and it's a very, very strong odor, especially with the epoxy I was using. And it was so cold outside we couldn't open the doors, and it was not a great thing. It was not good at all. And the person's house I was doing it in was not happy at all. All right, so we've got our A in. Now we're good to go with our B. Once I do this, we're going to have 6 minutes of stirring. because you have to mix this very, very, very thoroughly. Last time I used my mixer on the drill, you know, it works really good, but I don't know if it's worth all the, it just makes a huge mess. It's just some more stuff you gotta worry about. I'm just trying to mix it by hand today. It's actually tonight. It's actually really late. Oh, it's 11. I hope everyone's 2021 is going well. 2020 was hell, and so far 2021 hasn't been a whole lot better, but well, actually it was better New Year's. I didn't almost die by getting drugs, so that's a plus. Enough of the talk of the history for tonight. Alright, so we got our A and our B, and I'm going to start mixing, so I'm going to hit y'all with pause. Pause. Alright, we're cranking the recording back up. I'm still doing the starting. In fact, I just started. But I had remembered something else I wanted to share with y'all. These different molds, we're going to be doing lots of different things tonight. We started off doing all our molds with the longleaf pine, also known as antique heart pine, once it's been processed and on the floor, and if it's old enough to be antique. But we've got some of that. I used cedar the last time. Cedar is really light wood. It's got a lot of air and oxygen in it. I wasn't super happy with the amount of bubbles that formed after the epoxy started curing, but I think we're going to go just stick with the longleaf pine. I do have some cedar down here if we need to use some, but like I said, I think I'm gonna steer clear of it tonight, and we're just gonna go back to the old heart pine. These are pretty cool. This was a heart pine stick. I cut them into cookie sections, little tiny ones. I think they're gonna fit in most of the molds. These real thin, shallow molds, I don't think we're putting anything in them. We have multiple final cups over here that we can, so the epoxy's clear, and I'm gonna skip the adding the pigment part. Usually you stop halfway, you add the pigment. I'm gonna keep it clear the whole time. And then I'm going to separate it into different final cups, and then add the multiple different colors of epoxy to the different multiple final cups. So that way we can get more of a variety pack, if you will. We have a variety of different shape molds, so might as well have a variety of different colors. And it should be interesting. Also, inside of those variety of different colors, we're going to put a variety of different objects. We have the longleaf pine I just showed you, the cross sections. I've got some really thin longitudinal sections down here that I've been holding on to for a special project, but the special project just I haven't figured out what to do with them, so I might as well use them now. They're really cool though. As well as we have some river rocks, and then we have, this is beach glass. So, rumbled and tumbled and beaten down, no sharp edges, basically like, glass through a tumbler. And I've done this in clear epoxy before, and it makes a really cool effect, very cool. Now the one thing about putting rocks into this epoxy is we are not going to be able to use our table saw to slice it and dice it. So, it's going to be limited use, I guess I would say, just one or two maybe. And it's going to be done in a mold that I think that the mold is going to be sufficient just to keep it the way it is. So there won't be any cutting required, because I'm not going to ruin a saw blade on attempting to cut through rocks or sea glass. But we're going to try a bunch of different things, different colors, different objects, different molds. All right, so one step I did not show you on camera is, and it's crucial, is to spray the mold release. And I don't know where it is right now, but it's a little spray bottle, and you spray it in there, and that way once the epoxy, once it cures, it allows it to release much easier. And this is kind of the MVP of this. Every part's important, but mold release is crucial. Crucial. You're not going to have a good day if you don't use mold release. Google, how much time is left on the timer? Okay, Google, how much time is left on the timer?
You've got 9 seconds remaining.
All right. And the heat's up pretty high. I'm going to cut it down just a little bit. I don't want it to get too warm in here. It's really cold outside. Okay, Google, stop timer. Okay, Google. Okay, Google. Set timer for 4 minutes. I got the temperature up as high as I could because you don't want it too cold. The colder it doesn't stir, it doesn't mix as well. So I got it pretty jacked up, and it's really cold outside. It's like 35 degrees, but there's not much insulation in here. But So anyway, I think we're good on temperature. That's another part a lot of people overlook on these epoxy pours is your ambient room temperature is crucial to the success and ease of the whole process. And I think it's pretty much perfect in here. About 75 degrees would be ideal. It's probably like 72, 73 in here, something like that. I cut the heater down to 1. We're using an on-wall gas heater, so it puts out a lot of heat and it does it pretty quickly. So I'm looking at our mix here. It's looking really good. It's not streaky, it's not cloudy. It's essentially just almost perfectly clear, which is what you want. If you've got the streaky stuff in there, you've not mixed it good enough, it's the wrong temperature, it's mixing really easily, it looks really good. All the things I've picked up on doing 4 years of epoxy pours, everything is indicating to me right now that everything's going just perfect. Maybe not perfect, but as good as I could have expected. And when I'm stirring it, I'm scraping the sides. You want to make sure every bit of it is thoroughly mixed and not hiding out on the side or anything like that. Very, very important, the mixture part. And this should be interesting. So once I get done with this pour, some mixing, I'm going to distribute it to my different size final cups. And some epoxies, like 5-minute epoxy, you've got to really move fast with it. This stuff, we're going to have a good 20 minutes or so of, before we even have to even consider starting to worry about it starting to set up and cure, because it starts getting gooey and that's just no good. So we want to do everything we can. So I'm not in a huge rush, but I'm not dilly-dallying either. Okay, Google, how much time is left on our timer?
1 minute and 53 seconds to go.
Alright. So even though it's looking really good, and it looks, all the indicators tell me that it's doing good, I've still got to do the minute 53. You don't ever short skip or cut corners. You can. You're gonna learn the hard way, just like me in past pours. Another thing is you want to make sure everything's clean. You don't want any contaminants. You don't want anything like that messing it up. Several of these are probably going to be a clear pour, so very important to make sure that we've kept contaminants out, because they will show up in the final product and you will not be able to remove them. The other thing we're going to do is we've got our heat gun that we're going to torch the bubbles. I'm stirring it just kind of smooth and calm. I don't want to be herky-jerky. I don't want to introduce any extra air bubbles into the mixture. You would just want to be like, so I'm just smooth, steady, deliberate. And I'm still scraping my sides, still scraping the bottom as I go by. Just techniques and stuff you learn doing it to have a more optimal ideal final product. Last time we did the cedar, we sprayed it with it was lacquer to seal it, maybe keep some of the oxygen air bubbles in. I didn't do that with this heart pine tonight. Heart pine I'm not as concerned about the air escaping. There's still going to be some, but it's not nearly the same degree as the cedar. And I'd like to thank all y'all for watching this video, if you're watching this video. And we've had a lot of really growth there in the last couple of months with I Got Good Wood. Really started building a lot of momentum before Christmas, and I appreciate each and every one of you that has taken an interest in what I'm doing here. Okay, Google, stop timer. All right, so we're looking good, and ooh, that would have been terrible. So now we're going to start our distribution of the clear epoxy into our different multiple final product containers. I'm holding the side of it. It's starting to get a little warm. Process is working. We're not in a super big rush, but we're not dilly-dallying. I've used that word twice now. And I don't want that to get on my table saw, so we'll put it over here. All right. Very tricky part. We want to make sure we don't spill. This stuff is not good to spill at all. I should have paper towels over here, but I don't. That was stupid of me, my preparation, my non-preparation. I'm just eyeballing this. I'm just trying to guess how much I'm going to distribute in each one. Looks like those two are pretty close to each other. Thank God I do have a piece of metal down here over my workbench, so it's going to collect. I can always sand it off. It's a lot easier to sand off the metal than wood, but we don't want too much dripping. We'll try to contain all we can. But that being said, I'm wearing gloves because you're always going to get this crap everywhere. It's one of those things that's just no way you're not going to get it all everywhere. Alright, so we've got two. These are like 16 ounces each, so 32 total. We've got some little solo cups we're going to do some mixing in. And I'm just going to do a little bit in that one. I don't know what color it's going to be. And we've got an Avondale cup over here we're going to use as well. It looks like we're going to have a lot left. Not a lot, but more than is needed. So we're going to have a total of 5 different containers. I know one's going to be clear, so maybe we get to pick 4 different colors. 4 different pigments rather, some more proper terminology. And we're trying to get our drips and keep it off the table. But essentially I put down a piece of like 1/8 inch steel plate that I had laying around. I keep it on my work desk, the workbench a lot, so yeah, it's a lot easier to get stuff off of. Alright, so we still have a little decent amount in here. We're going to evenly distribute it between these 2 containers. And I can tell it's starting to set up a little bit. We're still good on time, we're not worried, we're not freaking out, but we're not going to delay either. Alright, there's still going to be a ton of this in here, so I need to get my scraper, my stirrer again, and start removing it. So we stirred a total of probably about, I'd say 12, 14 minutes. And we can get rid of this for the moment. We'll put it over here on this one. Alright, so let's see. First of all, we're going to, we want a clear one. We want clear. The rock one. Alright, so this can be our rock one over here, so we don't need to worry about a color there. I really want to try out these new ones. The blue sapphire I'm all about. Looks awesome. A little bit goes a long way. Don't want to use the entire container. That would be bad. Alright, so we're going to give it a little stir. You can always add more, you can never take less. That's a valuable lesson in epoxy and psychedelics. You can always eat more, you can never eat less. I can already tell I need a little bit more there. Alright. And I really wish I had a thinner stir. This is working, but this cup's really small compared to the size of this paint stirrer. It's looking really, really nice. I'll try to show the camera here in a second. Just want to make sure I get it really good. And I know that just by looking at this, I'm really like, okay, we do need another stir. We're going to have cross-contamination. Man, there's some things you just don't think about before you start doing this. That stir is probably a little too big. These are going to be way too small, but we're going to grab a couple and see what happens. Ooh, that's a really nice color. Alright. Now we're going to do our reflex reflex violet. I almost said velvet. What is that? Velvet? One of my favorite Coming to America quotes. What is that? Velvet? Alright, and we can always add more. I don't know if I put enough, probably not, but this is a smaller amount. I'm feeling the side, it's still just vaguely warm, lukewarm, it's still okay. Once it starts heating up, the process is working and you need to move on. And I can tell this is starting to heat up a little bit. Alright, so we got that one. I know somebody said something about gold. Yeah, let's do gold. I don't want to do that much gold, but we're going to do that much gold. That's too much gold, I don't want to do that. We're going to do the gold over here and we'll do another clear one. These pigments are not transparent, they are opaque. So let's do this ultramarine blue in one of these. I like that. Oh, got it. So our final, our overflow mold might be, might have multiple different, alright, so just initial impressions, the sapphire blue, I'm digging it. It is bad to the bone. Alright, so I got one more color to pick, and I'm just gonna make a judgment call. I like this sapphire blue a lot. It looks amazing, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do another big one of it, because it looks bad, as in good, bad. Alright, and I just splattered it. You want to do that. With pigment, it really wants to stick to the sides, so you really need to do the scraping on the sides and get it all good. Alright, we're warming up, I can tell. There's no need for dilly-dallying. Alright, we're gonna start with our clear, which we don't have anymore. Alrighty, we're gonna throw the rocks out. We're not doing this today. Alright, so let's do the, I want to get our mold on top of the metal. So we have one semi-transparent and the rest are opaque. These big ones, we need to get a, we're gonna do some 3 steps violet. Anytime you get a chance to stir, you're gonna stir it. And let's see what happens here. Wood is kind of floating. Yeah, it's coming. We'll stick it back down later. And this is our I got our blue. Really warming up. Let's get another, maybe get a couple of these in there. Yeah. And these are gonna float up too. Let's stick them in there sideways or something. Yeah. See what happens. Man, every time you think you're prepared, just it goes quick. Really getting warm. Gotta move. I do not like they're sticking together at all. Alright. Let's get some gold in these gems. I'll do a transparent one. Yeah, our excess is going to have multicolors for sure. This is our transparent, the ultramarine blue. Oh lordy, we have a bunch of excess here. Alright, and we got one more to do, so let's do a thought we were gonna have gold. I don't want to do gold. I want to do another sapphire blue because I think it's awesome. Alright, now let's get to some of these. Man, I'm getting worried. Alright. And let's do one of the honeybees. Our gold. We might almost be done with our gold. You're saying, Jay, you could have done this before. Why didn't you do that before? I didn't plan properly. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. Take my own advice sometimes. Alright, I really gotta get moving on this. The larger the amount of epoxy, the more it gets warm, and this is on fire. It's already smoking. Alright, we gotta get this ready. It's smoking. It's really warm. Alright, one done. The smaller ones aren't quite as hot yet. Whoa, that's on fire. Not literally, but like it's really hot. Wow. Done with this one. Done with this one. We got a little bit of gold left. Man, I didn't get to these molds like I wanted to. That was just too many. I shouldn't have done all these different cups. Too many cups. That's what they say. This is a ring. It looks pretty cool. Man, I hope that camera's on. I don't even. Yeah, it is. Okay. This will be an extremely long video, but. Alright, we got several blues. Let's see if we can get a purple beehive. Bzz, 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 bzz. Yeah, we got a whatever violet this is. We're out of violet now. We're probably not gonna actually. No, we're not. Not at all. Let's go star with the blue. Alright. Let's get a oval with the blue. And then we got some gold. And I did not plan very well at all. Ugh. gold star. You get a gold star. You get a blue ribbon, you get a gold star. That's what we're shooting for. That's what all good girls are shooting for. That should be. Alrighty. We're emptying our gold out. Our brilliant gold, brilliant. This is the part of the night where it's really late and I start talking weird to myself. And we got a little bit of blue left. Let's do, it's already really kind of, see how it's setting up? That's no good. So this is right at the time right now. It's this is kind of the last working time of this. You can see how it's getting globby, or maybe you can, I don't know. And just to give it a little more depth, let's. And so also now that I know it's starting to set up, I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to make sure all of our little experiments are going good and it's down at the bottom. And this one is not, and we're just going to leave it be. Let's stick this somewhere, who knows, that one's already full. We got something in there, we don't have anything in there, let's stick it down in there. And it's going to float, and we want it to go down, and we got it down, alright. We did not use our time very well, and it's already hard, we can't. Alright, well that's it. Didn't use all of our molds, it's just, this is kind of crazy. It really helps to have, this was a really ambitious pour, and I should have had it silicone. Yeah. This is setting up really hard. But you gotta be able to laugh at yourself, you know? And I can definitely laugh at myself. When your life's a comedy, you better learn to laugh. Alright. I'm just trying to knock this down, make sure it sets. This is going to be interesting, y'all. Very interesting. But we got it done. And I don't know if y'all can see there's smoke coming up off of there. Smoke on the water. And epoxy in your eyes. That was actually the original lyric. Just kidding. And we're going to try to scrape the bottom, but this is already becoming very not viscous setup. And let's see what's going on with Goldie over here. We got a little bit. You can tell that it's really getting sticky because it just ripped my glove apart when I tried to put it down. So that's really sticky. Screw it, we're good. And these cups are trash because they're trash. And good old Avondale's trash. It's actually starting to melt. I don't know if y'all can see that. Where I poured it, it's melting the lip. It's very, very hot. And we got steam coming up off of this one because this is the largest concentration of it. And, where's our transparent? Right here. Alright, I'm done. This is enough. Because it's it's just not coming off anymore. So, alright, so we're done for the pour. And, well, you know, mixed results. Yeah, it's just too. I don't know, is that my piece of my glove? That's the glove right there. Damn it. We do not want that in there. And it's like stuck in there. Got it out. Alright, that was a good save. Alright. Alright, and I'm gonna put on new gloves because this stuff's super sticky, it's everywhere, and these gloves are ruined. And they're supposed to be. Let's get another pair of nitrile gloves. These are the really thin ones, it's only 5 mil thickness nitrile glove. They come apart pretty easy. I went to buy some thicker ones, it's 2 days ago, and they were sold out. Harbor Freight. That's the best place to buy nitrile gloves, by the way. They're cheap. Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight's a great place to buy all that stuff. Maybe not your high-end power tools, but supplies and stuff, man. Harbor Freight's the way to go. I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't have Harbor Freight, because if I had to pay Lowe's prices and Home Depot for all the stuff that I need to do what I do, there's no way. A lot of stuff is 2-3 times expensive at Lowe's or Home Depot. And a lot of times it's made in the same factory in China with a different label put on the packaging. Like exactly the same factory, just different label. Alright, I'm trying to clean up anything I see. I'm gonna get rid of these cups. I can reuse these, that's the final product. I'm not gonna worry about even trying to reuse these. And so our mixing cups, our A and B, they're gonna be fine. They don't ever get the chemical bonding process in them. Alright, we got a lot of air bubbles here. Let's slide these over to the other side so we can get them with our heat gun. Yeah, that's gonna be the best thing to do. It's over there. But our camera's over here, so I'll bring it over here. Yeah, so we're almost past the bubble popping stage due to the time of the setup, but it's still popping pretty good recently. Lots of foam at the top here. Bubble foam. Yeah. Alright, that's doing good. Oh shit. This is warping big time because of the heat. These are just plastic molds and these are silicone molds. And that's our other problem, I think. These silicone molds are holding much better. Yeah. So the plastic molds aren't really designed for epoxy resin, they're designed for candles, making candles, and I thought I could get away with it, but this one's doing okay. This one's warping to hell and back right now. Yeah. It could have been me holding heat on it too long or the heat gun. Possibly, I don't know. Really thin plastic. I think that's probably what happened. I probably ended up doing the damage myself with this heat gun. Yeah. The silicone molds are looking awesome. They're about 5 or 6 times more expensive than these plastic ones, but I'm now seeing why, and that's the way to go. This is the first time I've actually used like a proper like store-bought silicone mold. Before it's just always me doing a science experiment every time. But these 3 silicone molds, I think they're like $12 each. I think that one's like 15 or 18. They look great. That's what I should have done while I like that. Alright. So this has 2 speeds on it, a low and a high. I've been a low. I think high would be way too much. This thing really puts off some heat. Like this is way more than your hair dryer. Like it's a pretty heavy gun. Alright, so initial thoughts, I wasn't that well prepared. I didn't have it planned out. Thought, well, is it still going to be okay? Yeah, we're doing alright. We're doing just fine. Every now it's a state of mind. We're doing okay. I'm fine most of the time. We're doing okay. All right, let's take a break. Let's put up some stuff, get it out of the way. so we can work a little more efficiently and not worry about knocking over everything. This bottle of pigment on the floor. And sometimes you gotta let the bubbles come up a little bit. We're kind of running out of time, but we're doing just fine. We're doing okay. For those of y'all that don't know what I'm referencing, it's a Jerry Joseph song. One of my favorite artists. We're doing okay. And that's annoying. Alright, our, I guess the excess spillover pour, didn't really get it set up at all. It's about an inch and a half. Didn't get the wood at the bottom. Very disappointing. Completely on me. I mean, it's all on me, I'm the only one here. Can't blame nobody else. It's nobody's fault but mine. We're starting to see a lot less bubbles pop. The curing process is taking over. Not many more bubbles to pop. Because they just can't move through the liquid because it's starting to harden. So we're going to start seeing diminishing returns on this heat gun. If you ever start smelling like the plastic smell, like you're burning the plastic, you need to get it off of it. This thing will burn quick. By plastic, I mean epoxy. Pretty much done with the gun now. Got a pretty good amount of bubbles over here. Didn't go perfectly. The silicone molds look really good. All of them, or at least the ones I got filled up. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But it'll be alright. I'm have a very adaptability at salvaging stuff that you think you've completely wasted. I can always find something to fix something, some way, somehow. I'm very adaptable, which is a great quality to have, in my opinion, because if you're going to adapt or you're going to die, and I'm not ready to die, so I'll keep adapting. You don't get to Lipscomb, Alabama if you're not adapting. Forced adaptation. Not adoption, but adaptation. The action. Yeah. Alright, that paper towel has served its usefulness. And I think we're so at this point I could go stick these in the freezer, but these are so kind of, I'm worried if I pick them up it's gonna overspill. I'm probably gonna put this in the freezer. You know, I didn't really do that well. So I'm gonna hit you on pause, and then we'll come back and we'll do a little wrap up. 43 minutes. So when I just hit the pause button, I just got to see the timer, and we're at 43 minutes. Didn't know it was going to be this live. It doesn't seem like it's been 43 minutes at all. All right, so final thoughts. I can't give you final thoughts until we get a final product, but my initial final thoughts are silicone molds good, plastic molds, don't waste your money. There's too much heat generated. Also, if you hold the heat gun on one spot on a plastic tray, it's gonna warp it. I don't know if y'all can see, but this whole thing's like out of. And also, it doesn't help that I didn't put epoxy in the back too, so it's getting that cattywampus, which is another really good word. Cattywampus and dilly dally. Sound like Joe Biden from like the 1920s, because that's when he was alive. Now I'm excited about a Biden presidency. How can you not be excited about anybody but Donald Trump? I mean, what a traumatic year already. What a traumatic last year. We gotta get some people to start using their brains again. This country doesn't have objective reasoning skills. Critical thinking skills. They believe whatever dumbass fucking conspiracy theory sounds sexy, or honestly, I think at this point it's just like whatever's the most ridiculous thing we can believe. But you know, it's dismaying because I have really good friends that hook, line, sinker, and I'm like, man, no, we went to the same school together. Like, how did you not pick up on the? Anyway, bless. bless their hearts, as you would say. And if no one's told you today, I love you. I know somebody that joined a cult, and that's the cult. That's what they say at the end of everything. In case no one's told you today, I love you. Someone started integrating that into every salutation. All right. I don't know how we got from crazy cults other than it's been a crazy year, crazy cults, crazy people. And that's how we did it. The crazies. All right, so I'll pull the camera over here and y'all take a look at it. I don't know how well you can see it from this view, but or rather the view you've been seeing. All right. So this is the jewel shaped. It's got faceted edges on the bottom. I don't know if you can see it. And we didn't get to the fill in the epoxy on the back. Silicone mold number 1, assorted shapes. Looks good. Silicone mold number 2, assorted shapes. Bad call on putting the epoxy, the longleaf pine cookie slices in there. Bumblebee honeycomb silicone mold number 3. Once again, silicone molds, I'll get an A. Plastic mold, half egg shape, I guess. Elliptical egg. It's doing better than that other one as far as structural integrity goes, but yeah, it doesn't look bad. It's pretty good. We'll see what the final product is, but I'm not against it right now. I think this one I just screwed up and left the heat gun on it too much. That's what the issue is, or was one of the issues. But anyway, so we've got high hopes for the silicone molds. That going looks like it's pretty good. And also I over poured them. There's too much volume in there. But anyway, I had no idea this was going to be a 47-minute video. But I'll give you all a final update when they begin curing. So these real shallow ones, they're going to cure way faster than these deep ones. That's just kind of the way it is. And so these might be, it's definitely tomorrow. But anyway. All right, y'all. I appreciate you watching. Good grief. If y'all watched all this, y'all had a boring day or a boring night or no plans. Not that I'm boring. It's just it's 47 minutes long. All right. Y'all take care. Once again, thanks to everyone for supporting me. It's been a hell of a year, but this has been the bright spot. My business has really taken off, starting right before Christmas when I made the executive decision to kind of change the business model a little bit and start doing smalls. Before I was doing these really large upside down tree tables, and they're amazing. But they take a lot of time to do the work on them, as well as they're very heavy and they don't sell as well. When you've got these earrings, when you have jewelry, I'm selling earrings for $20. Everybody's got a 20 for something, and it's a lot more volume, which is what we need. Cash revenue generated. But anyway, thank y'all so much. I got good wood, and we'll see you soon.